I'm going to like pretend that I am Mbappe, going on social media, trashing Solskjaer and all that stuff, like some like drunk middle-aged like divorcee or something, like on Facebook.
Big time.
Myself and Angelina are here for the Q&A again. Thank you so much, by the way, everyone, for sending any questions. Some good ones this week.
Yes, I think I am going to kick off with one of the questions. I really do like this question. So this is from CR7 Niraj, and it is, what do you think about Casillas' El Clasico demand after this pandemic is over?
His demand was like to play a classic El Clasico, right?
Yeah. I love the idea of this.
I love the idea of it, but maybe, you know, not all of them have taken to retirement so well. So if they're all like a bit kind of out of shape and it's just a lot.
We'll need to do a fitness test first.
Yeah, there's like 22 men like breathing out their arse after 5 minutes. And like, it will, I'm not sure it'll be the most entertaining game. I think it will be really cool though. Like, you know, to have loads of legends back on the pitch.
Yeah, definitely.
The thing is, every time I see one of these games, it's always really friendly, and I don't want the Clasico to be friendly.
Yeah, you want like a really good Clasico where people are fighting and pushing each other and kicking off.
Like, no one's going to be happy with Figo.
Yeah.
Like, especially for Barcelona after him moving between the clubs and like, God, imagine the state of like Ronaldo, not Cristiano, Ronaldo Nazario on the pitch, just.
Yeah.
In
my head, it would be glorious, but now you're saying that, I'm thinking, are we just going to feel very let down?
It sounds better on FIFA. Right, next up, Duran. Oh, it's spelled differently to the fantastic band. If you were Mbappe, what would you do? Stay at PSG and become a legend, or go to Real Madrid to replace Ronaldo, or go to the Premier League for a new challenge?
Now, I'm going to like pretend that I am Mbappe at this point. So, PSG, yeah, it would be great to be a legend, but I don't think I've got guaranteed trophies minus the league every year. And I feel like I would want something more than that because I'm 21. I've already won the league a few times, so I'm over it. I think I've read somewhere he is like a massive Ronaldo fan. So I feel like if Real Madrid came calling, I think he would be like, yeah, I want to go and kind of replicate what he did. Win a Champions League maybe. But then maybe I'd be thinking, Premier League, do something a little bit different. But I feel like it's one of those, another one, when Real Madrid rings you up when you're 21, 22, you think, yeah, why not? So I think Madrid.
Yeah, I think there's so much, like, I always talk about it, there's so much draw to these kind of teams. And I think because you know that Real Madrid are always going to be at the top of La Liga. Not first place, but towards the top. I mean, the last time one of Barca Real finished outside the top 3 was something like 2006.
Yeah.
Or something like that. I mean, and ever since then, it's been Atletico, bar 1 or 2 seasons, filling up 3rd position, or 2nd or 1st. I think as well, moving to the Premier League, if I was Kylian Mbappe, the thing is with the Premier League, it's way more competitive, but that also means there's no guarantees of trophies.
Yeah.
The reason I say it's competitive is because out of the top 6, now someone correct me if I'm wrong, out of the top 6, so there's Tottenham, Arsenal, Chelsea, Liverpool, City, United, Manchester City are the only team to have not fallen out of the top 6 in the last 5 years or 6 years. Every other club has had that poor season, has had that transition phase where they've fallen out. Sometimes like Arsenal for 3 or 4 years. Sometimes like Liverpool, who also towards the earlier part of the decade weren't always in the top 4, had a few years missing. I think maybe it was after Suarez left. United, we all know about their struggles, Europa League. Spurs have only just made it into the Champions League for the last 4 years. Before that, there was 1 season. So there's always the risk if you're Mbappe. Even as good as Liverpool are, if you were to join Liverpool, you know, maybe things go wrong one season, the top 6 gets competitive, the likes of Wolves, you know, Sheffield United this season, but in the long run, Wolves, maybe Everton, you know, maybe they push in and completely disrupt it, or you drop down to the Europa League. So I think the guarantee to be challenging for the top titles has got to be Real Madrid.
Yeah, 100%. I think he would definitely be going there. But speaking of Real Madrid, we have got a question from Yvonne Lloyd saying, which English team best suits James Rodriguez?
James Rodriguez needs to be the star. This is the thing. He needs to be
He needs that ego, I feel.
Yeah.
Like, he needs to feel confident and, like, everyone loves him. Yeah.
He needs to be, firstly, he needs to be playing in the right position in the number 10 role. Doesn't need to be out wide or up front or sitting deeper. I mean, he's linked with Wolves, Everton and Arsenal.
What a drop down. Wolves and Everton.
I mean, Arsenal don't necessarily play with a number 10. I think, look what's happening with Mesut Ozil. He's really fallen behind in their style of play. Everton and Wolves, I mean, Everton have got a lot of attacking midfielders in the shape of Gylfi Sigurdsson. They've got Alex Iwobi, Theo Walcott, Bernard's in there as well. If he was guaranteed starting, I think so, but I think they've got Sigurdsson, so I'm not so sure. I could see him best at Wolves. Wolves play a very counter-attacking style. They play 3 at the back. They don't necessarily play with a number 10. Their creative force comes from Neves and Moutinho deep in midfield. But I think all 3 of them are the size of club where they'd be like, you are the star, you are the main guy, you're the highest earner and the best player and the penalty and the free kick taker and
for the shirts.
Like, you are the guy. And I think Everton or Wolves probably over Arsenal from the way they play. But yeah, I mean, any of them really. Any of them, I think. That's obviously outside of the top 6.
Yeah.
Aside from Arsenal. Right, next up from Matthew Arnott said, who should England start and bench as right back? So you got Trent Alexander-Arnold, Wan-Bissaka, Kyle Walker, Trippier or Reece James?
Right, so I feel like Kyle Walker, I don't think he was called up for the qualifiers this season, was he?
He missed a few of them, yeah.
Yeah.
Same with Trippier.
I don't see Walker. I feel like Trippier, because he was so good in that World Cup, and I think he was like ranked like one of the most creative of the entire tournament or something.
Yeah.
So depending how Southgate's feeling, he might start with Trippier because that's kind of like your, not old faithful, but like that's more kind of what you're used to. But not sure about James. I think Wan-Bissaka, I think, still needs a little bit more time because as much as he's maybe getting better at the back, it's more the coming forward. He needs to work on that. I think he needs a little bit more time. I feel like Trent could be a bit of a challenger for Trippier, but I feel like if he's wanting to kind of go, I mean, I'm trying to think, like the age difference isn't like massive, but obviously still. I think, how is Trippier 20? Well, I want to say he's 24.
No. Trippier's like 28 or 29.
Why do I think he's 24?
He's got a baby face.
Yeah, he's another Lingard. But that's honestly, he must be because, anyway, but...
The thing is, I think Kyle Walker and Trippier are good options, but the fact that they are both 28, 29...
Yeah.
There's 3 unbelievable young fullbacks in Reece James, Wan-Bissaka and Trent. Yeah.
I think I'd keep Trippier, you know, on the bench in case I need him.
You're going to start with Trent then?
I would start with Trent. I don't know. I don't think Walker's making the bench. Nothing to do with him being a City player or anything like that. But I've got a bit of bias there. No, I'm joking. But Wan-Bissaka, I think, needs a bit more time. I think James could be on the bench as well. But I'm going with Trent.
I actually have to agree with Trent. I mean, he's an unbelievable player. I think defensively, maybe there's a few questions. But then, as you mentioned, with Wan-Bissaka, if you put him in and you have a brilliant defender, you don't have a decent attacker. And in a large majority of the games, because England are one of the better teams in the world, along with, you know, the other sort of 10 to 12 better teams, in most matches, you're going to be dominating possession. You're going to be creating chances. Like, it's not going to be a backs to the wall, Wan-Bissaka making last-ditch challenges. You're going to want something from your fullback going forward more than you are defensively. So I think, Trippier and Trent are probably the best 2 options. Having said that, Reece James looks good. I don't know how much Chelsea you've watched, but he looks seriously good. He just made a step up from Wigan after being on loan and was just like, I'm just coming into Chelsea and fucking shit up. No, I think he's really, really good.
Right, should we go on to the next question? This is from Gaming VLX. So which positions should Juventus improve, or in which positions do they need more depth?
Oh boy, this is I feel like Juventus are aging in areas and kind of need more depth overall in terms of youngsters. typified by the fact they're giving Gigi Buffon a new 1-year deal. But, you know, Chelsea's still in there. I think the midfield is a problem for Juventus. I think they've brought in the likes of Rabiot and Ramsey, who really haven't lived up to, I wouldn't say the hype, because there's not massive hype about them, but certainly to the billing of what they could be. I think Blaise Matuidi is definitely getting on a bit. Pjanic, there always seems to be rumours about him leaving, whether or not he's the complete midfielder, even though he has been a brilliant servant for Juventus over the years. And I think going a bit further forward, always questions over Douglas Costa, questions over Bernardeschi and what he's bringing to the team. That's why they've gone out and signed Kulusevski, I believe it is, from Atalanta, or Parma even, Parma. And then going forward, Higuain's on his last legs. Ronaldo's still doing well, but they've got to look to the future at some point. So I reckon at Juve, apart from like Dybala, De Ligt, who are the main kind of sort of the ones you could see lasting for more than 2 or 3 years, they need cover everywhere. Central defence, actually, with Chiellini, his contract expiring either this summer or next summer. Bonucci getting into his 30s. Rugani not really doing as much as promised. Certainly links for him away. Well, I'm literally just shooting down the whole Juve squad.
Basically the entire team.
Yeah, I mean, basically, even Alexandro has been linked with moves away. And Juan Cuadrado as well. He hasn't always found his best position, whether it's a wing back, a right back, or a right winger. I would say the midfield is probably the biggest problem for Juventus. I think that's why they've been linked with Pogba so much.
Yeah.
To kind of have that big star player in the side, because like I mentioned before, Rabiot, Ramsey, Matuidi, no one jumps out as like the star guy. So aside from Pjanic, no one really sort of jumps out like a Pogba would. Or am I forgetting another central midfielder? There probably is one. But yeah, I'm thinking central midfield. What do you think about the Higuain, Ronaldo, Dybala?
It's working. It's all right.
Yeah.
But I think, like you say, this kind of looking to the future.
Yeah.
I think they've all had great moments, been great players, but I think they need a little bit more youth there.
Yeah. Even they sold Moise Kean, so they also didn't want youth that badly last summer. Anyway, Samir7 YT has got a quick fire for Angelina.
Okay.
Right. Sancho or Gnabry?
Sancho.
Koulibaly or Maguire?
I'll see. I'm going to go with my mum, Maguire.
Milinkovic, Savic or Grealish?
Ooh. Maybe Savic.
He's another midfielder actually that Juve are into, because he's like another star. Thomas Partey or Wilfred Ndidi?
Partey. Just for the name.
Yeah, what a name. Josip Ilicic or Immobile?
Ooh. Ilicic.
Big fan of his.
I would go for.
And last but not least, Zidane or Ronaldinho? Oh God, that's a tough one.
That is really hard. But, you know, even just looking at skill, charisma, personality, I don't know, I'll probably lean more towards Ronaldinho just for I think he had a bit more performance in him, a little bit.
Showmanship.
And just for the crazy stories that come out about him as well. But both fantastic, but I would probably...
You're demonising Zidane for being too much of a straightforward
basically.
shooter.
Way too boring. Right, amazing. We have got another quick fire here for you, Matt, from Jatin Kanchandani, we'll go with. So, this quick fire, Zidane or Xavi?
Oh, Zidane. I love Xavi, but yeah, Zidane.
Cruz or Thiago?
Thiago.
Alexander-Arnold or Davies?
This is just who I prefer, Alphonso Davies. I just love his story. Everything about him. I just think he's gonna be brilliant. So is Alexander-Arnold. But...
Pirlo or Iniesta?
Iniesta.
Immobile or Martinez?
Immobile.
Dybala or Bruno?
Ooh. Don't really have an affiliation for either. They're both good players. Just Dybala. Ever so slightly. Although Bruno Fernandes is also awesome. Right, next up from Irside Faris, who has hit us with a rather big question. And I wouldn't be able to see it if my thing didn't freeze. There we go. Unfrozen computer. Right. This is an old topic that they've been wanting to ask for a long time. Should agents such as Mino Raiola or Jorge Mendes have less impact on the player's form and rather be focusing on their player future and conditions? They also should be going less to the media and saying stuff that could spark news and rumours. Also, should the agent receive a specific percentage of the fee rather than asking additional fee for negotiations? For example, the Pogba deal in 2016, Raiola received a huge fee as part of the deal. He did. I heard he got something around 22 million.
Yeah.
For the Pogba deal. I hope this question makes it to the video. Sending love from Malaysia. Love the vids. Keep up the good work. Thank you, Irsiad Paris, I believe. What's your take on this?
This whole agent thing, I do kind of get this because, and I think with the whole Pogba situation, I was kind of more aware of it, I would say, but I do feel like it depends what people are employing them for, because a lot of people with the whole Pogba situation, his agent going on social media, trashing Solskjaer and all that stuff, like some drunk middle-aged divorcee or something like on Facebook. It was bizarre. And as much as I would sit there and be like, he is bang out of order, like these agents need to kind of stay in the lane. At the same time, these players are employing them. Like if I'm employing you, like I would be saying to you, no, take that down, send out an apology. This is not how I want business to be done. I'm not employing you for that. And players aren't, I think players should be not calling them out in public, but bringing them to the side and saying, no, this isn't how I want things to go. I want things to be more professional, less of this news stuff and everything in the media, blah, blah, blah. But players aren't, and players clearly, I don't know if agents are saying to them, this will look better, this will get you more attention, blah, blah, blah. I think it's sad the way that things have gone. Regarding money, I think it's ridiculous getting additional fees just for negotiating stuff. I mean, you don't know how difficult it is, but I don't know what he did that deserved such a ridiculous amount of money. But again, that comes down to, players and their agents and their relationship. But I do think all the media stuff and all the tit for tat and the arguing and the, rumours and starting dramas, it's a shame, me personally, to see, because then I know with a lot of United fans, maybe some will agree, some won't agree. You kind of look at the player in a different light, because you sat there thinking, you allowed your manager, your agent, to completely call out our manager that we love. We love Solskjaer, we love what he's doing, well, for most people. And you've allowed your agent to call him out on social media. That's, it then has people looking at Pogba in a different light as well, and he doesn't necessarily deserve that, so.
I tend to agree, but I think, as always, when it comes to football and money, there's money in football. There's money in every successful business. Like, people need to understand that and kind of basically get over it. Football wouldn't be where it is without the money, and if people really don't want to do it, if people are really against it, stop watching the big time football, stop paying United season tickets, stop buying the shirt. Stop all this and that. If you really, really cared, or you go watch, lower league football. I'm sure Salford are doing something interesting. But yeah, I think that in terms of, you're right, they are being employed. But on the flip side of this, and I could say firsthand, I don't know about you, I would not have a clue what to do if I was dealing with a club and I was a football player. Like these football players, these young guys who are 18, 19, 20, you've got a guy coming in who's the best in the business, like Mino Raiola is, promising you this move and this money and to always have your back and to not let you get screwed over by a club. It's kind of like, well, yeah, that's what you're paying the best for. Like, if Mino Raiola was such a bad agent and never got his guys any good deals, he wouldn't be at the top of the game and he wouldn't be recognised as one of the best agents. Whether it's having an impact on their player, I think, again, as you see it a lot, as players get older in their career, they kind of realise what's important, they settle down. And look, I don't blame them for 18, 19, 20-year-old kids who are suddenly being given hundreds of thousands a week. It's easy to let your head go a bit nuts. I don't think that the agents have too much impact on the form.
No.
But going to the media and all this kind of crap, I'm sure it's a strategy. I'm sure that they do it, and they speak to the players a lot, and there's a plan behind it. Yeah, I mean, as for Mino Raiola receiving a huge part of the Pogba deal, obviously Pogba wanted that too, otherwise he'd have to pay the agent's fees. So technically Man United pay the agent's fees instead. So, yeah, look, I mean, he's the best of the agents getting the best money for some of the best players in the world. So,
yeah,
I agree with you. There can be a lot more nonsense. However, having said this, there's also massively the media's fault as well.
Yeah,
the
exactly. If the media didn't
everything.
feed into it, then they wouldn't be able to do the stuff that they do.
If every newspaper didn't cover Raiola, you know, sitting on the toilet or saying something bad about Solskjaer, or every time he moves from one yacht to another, everyone goes nuts about Pogba. If the media didn't cover it, no one would really care. But, you know, that's me sounding like an old man. As we sit here talking about transfers non-stop.
Right, next question. This is from Minal Kaur. So, how can clubs like Dortmund or Ajax reach the same level as Madrid or Barcelona? They transform young talents into world-class players, or even promote young talents but are unable to keep them there for a long time, or are unable to prevent them from joining Real or Barca?
Wow, boy, that's a good question. I feel like I say this quite a lot on the channel when it comes to especially Real Madrid and Barcelona. They have the history.
Yeah.
And this is the thing, they are the pinnacle of the game. Regardless of where they finish, the following season, I mean, barring an absolute disaster, look, the stronger are getting stronger, the richer are getting richer in football, and barring a disaster, they're never going to be out of the Champions League.
They're so consistent.
They're going to be fighting for the Champions League, La Liga, and the Copa del Rey every single season.
Yeah.
And even when they're not, they're still going to be at the biggest club earning the biggest money, right? Give or take 1 or 2 contracts elsewhere. So yeah, kind of being able to offer them that club, even if they don't play against the strongest teams week in, week out. Personally, and you know, not even a biased way, the Premier League is the strongest competition all round. We've seen it this season with the fact that promoted teams like Sheffield United are challenging for the top 4. Right, you're seeing that apart from Liverpool, every team has done so poorly because the rest of the team have taken points off them because the rest of the teams are actually quite good. And yeah, as I said before, with the Champions League, with every team having dropped out aside from Manchester City, and the fact that City are the only team to defend the title last decade. They're the only team to defend the title, sort of win it back-to-back seasons. So I think the Premier League is more attractive from a competitive point of view. But with the likes of Ajax or Dortmund, I mean, for Ajax's case, no disrespect to the Eredivisie, because they bring through a lot of talents. You join Ajax, you win the league within 1 or 2 years minimum, unless you're in a really poor side. And then you've kind of done it. You've completed Dutch football. The same thing with PSG. You know, they're so good. They're so far ahead at the top. I mean, AZ Alkmaar providing a good run for the money this season. But Ajax are always going to be up there. And the thing is with Barca and Madrid, they have the history, the legacy. They're winning Champions League titles, you know, every decade, if you will. They're always going to be in with a shot. They're always going to be in and around the quarters and latter, except for the odd season, you know, the Madrid dropout, definitely. So it's just impossible to compete. And again, on top of this, as much as there is a lot of money in football, when someone comes in with a big offer, you know, I don't think Ajax are going to be able to turn it down. I think Dortmund have more money and may be able to turn it down. But, you know, these things, they aren't exempt from being poor, basically.
Yeah.
Teams like Man United, Bayern, Real, Barca, and City, as long as they've got their investors, they're never going to be poor. No matter where they finish in the league, in or out the Champions League, no matter, like, they're never going to need to sell for money purposes.
Yeah. Except
for a bizarre transfer, like bringing back Neymar for 200 million. They'll never need to sell for money purposes, whereas the likes of Dortmund or Ajax will have to, unfortunately.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
But yeah, I feel like that was a rather long answer, but a great question. Anyway, moving on next, ABHAY Warrior has said, how good can Emi Buendia become if he joins Arsenal as a long-term Mesut Ozil replacement? Love the show, by the way. Thank you, ABHAY.
Yes. The Ozil thing, I think it's kind of sad to see when a player's, you know, done so well and you just see it's just slowly going downhill. So I think they definitely need the creativity, and I think Buendia would definitely bring that. I think he's super creative. I think I was reading some stats the other day, and he's very high up in like dribbling stats. Which, why not have a bit of dribbling?
Yeah.
I also feel like he's a really good age and will fit into Arteta's kind of plan, because he's someone who is actually like 23, 24. So I feel like I think they would get him for a decent price. I don't think he's going to break the bank or anything.
Especially if Norwich are relegated.
Exactly. Obviously, he's already got experience in the Premier League, maybe not with the greatest club, but he's still got experience in the league. Like I say, I think he's a really good age and will fit in really well. He'll definitely bring the creativity and the good bits of Ozil that they're now lacking. So yeah, I think he could become a great player and slot in really well for them.
Yeah, I tend to agree, especially when you see a good creative player in a poor side.
Yes, yeah.
Same thing with Jack Grealish at Aston Villa. When you see a guy like that who's still able to put up numbers for dribbling, for assists, for goals, he's still able to make people sit up and notice how good he is creatively when 90% of the time his team are losing, his team are backs against the walls and, you know, trying to do a lot of defending. Don't get me wrong, Norwich have had brilliant performances this season as well, as have Aston Villa. But yeah, when you're able to shine through in what is, you know, quite a poor team that should be defending more often, it says something about you that you've still got, you know, that ability to make stuff happen in the game. So yeah, I tend to agree. I think that you could sign it for anyone. Look, is it going to be more than 25, 30 million?
I don't think so.
I doubt it. I doubt it. Right, Dev. Oh no, sorry, it's you next. I was asking the Emmy Benderia question.
This is from Dev VIDIT. So, if you could assist any one of your favourite goals, which one would it be?
So, am I doing the assist that's already been done, or am I just assisting a good goal?
I think you're assisting one that's already been done, but whichever you prefer. So, if there's like an amazing goal, and you
am I doing my own assist, or do I have to do the assist that someone else did?
I think, you know, you're an individual. You can do whatever assist that you would like.
Wow. What if it was like passing the ball to Messi like 3 yards before he did one of them dribbles and like beat everyone and score? You'd be known for having assisting
just
the greatest goal
so you can be
ever.
in the shot when they like replay that really good goal. God, remember him.
With a 2-yard pass. This is like, I don't know if you remember Thierry Henry scoring that goal against United where he flicked it up. Yeah. And Gilles Grimandi was the guy that passed it to him. Who the hell was Gilles Grimandi, I hear you say? Like, he was just like I think it was a French midfielder who wasn't particularly good for Arsenal or sort of anyone really. He definitely wasn't a standout player, but he's like, yeah, I was the guy who passed it to Henry for one of the most outrageous goals in Premier League history.
Yeah.
I would be Roberto Carlos assisting Zinedine Zidane for that volley against Leverkusen in the Champions League final. That left foot volley is one of the greatest goals ever. In a Champions League final, and I think it was Carlos who sort of swung it up in the air. I'd make it look a bit neater than that, but yeah, that was a Zidane goal. I'd love to have assisted that.
I think I would have assisted Solskjaer in that Champions League final. Just for like the commentary of that is repeated so much. Have your name in there, why not?
Yeah. That would be great, to be fair. We both know where the glory's at. We've both chosen Champions League finals. Right, next up, Josh Houldin has said, who's the biggest one season or one tournament wonder of the past 20 years?
See, the one that comes into my head, and I guess they're technically not just like a one season wonder because they're still doing well at the moment, but I would have to go for Leicester just because in that Premier League, when they won that league, I became like a little bit of a Leicester fan.
Yeah, I think everyone did.
And that's the thing, it brought everybody like together in a way, like everyone was just so happy for them. I don't think there's ever really been a Premier League win where everyone was just like, you know what, props to them, good for them. And I just think it
won't happen again.
Yeah, and it was a happier time, I think. Yeah. It was just like, you know, everyone was friends, like there was peace and harmony amongst footballers and football. So yeah, I think that does stick in my mind because it was just lovely.
Yeah, that's the thing. It was very much one season. I'm going to go, because I still think this, James Rodriguez.
Yeah.
I know people will probably hate me for that, but he was so brilliant at the 2014 World Cup for Colombia, and has never been good since.
Yeah.
Certainly never reached the heights that you would have thought for someone who did what he did. All right, so you're up next.
So this is from Luke McLaughlin. So if you had to pick 3 footballers to be your bodyguards for the day, who would it be?
What a question. God. I need someone that looks tough.
Yes.
3 footballers. Do they have to be playing now? I just thought of a really scary old one.
No, well, they can be. Well, they'd more likely be a bodyguard when they're retired. So
okay, I'm going for Adama Traore.
Yeah.
Because he's huge and he can run after anyone who steals my watch or my phone.
Yeah.
And he's exceptionally quick and he looks scary. Pepe, because he's absolutely nuts and there's no limit to what he'd do. Pepe would be crazy, and if you were in any sort of fight, he'd be there.
Yeah.
So Traore, Pepe, and there's got to be some tough ones. Gennaro Gattuso. Gattuso's pretty nuts.
Yeah.
So I'd say Gattuso or someone like Vidal or Nainggolan. They look scary, like with the mohawk and the tattoos and
Yeah. See, I think Company would be good for headbutting people away from you.
True.
Roy Keane, because he's just another one.
Oh, okay, yeah.
He'll be breaking legs for you, do you know what I mean? And then I would maybe go with a big name like a Ronaldo, because he would just like deflect. Like if somebody's being your bodyguard because you've got loads of people coming at you, just shove Ronaldo there. Everyone will be running after him. So then you can just...
He's the decoy.
Yeah, basically he's a decoy.
That's a great question, Luke.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that. Right, last but not least, Sean Whitton has said, is a Jaffa cake a cake or a biscuit? These are the questions you've come here for. If you've made it this far into the video, congrats.
See, it has kind of a consistency of more cakey, but the shape of it, I would look in a biscuit aisle for it. But it has more of a cake.
See, the thing is, you wouldn't bake a Jaffa cake, would you? Like you would. I'm assuming they are baked when they're cooked.
I've never seen a Jaffa cake recipe or like a Jaffa cake birthday cake or... Because they're shaped like biscuits, but they're not crunchy like biscuits.
I'm going to go biscuit.
Yeah, me too.
Perfect. Right. These are the questions you've come here for. Thank you so much, as always, for all of your questions, guys. Every Wednesday night in the YouTube community tab is when you can leave your questions for the next Friday's Q&A. But that's all from myself and Angelina. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you guys next week.